So thank you so much for having me. Sustainable Production Forum. Yes, I'm Janine Steele. I'm the Director for Interactive, Digital and Emerging Media at the Canada Media Fund. For those of you not familiar with the Canada Media Fund, we are Canada's largest investor in screen-based content. That's primarily film and television, but also includes interactive and digital media, video games, XR content. We support both content creation as well as capacity building, sectoral development, research, and development for the industry at a whole. So I'm really pleased to be the sponsor partner for this idea boost this afternoon. I'm going to start off and give you a little bit about what the CMF is up to in the sustainable and climate action space, and then open the floor to some of my other fellow speakers who will talk about some of the exciting initiatives they're taking on. So let's go to slide 1. So, as I say, we're going to talk a little bit today about what we're up to encourage green production activities, a bit about what those incentives have resulted in, and share some resources for you that you can implement to work on your own productions. So the rollout of a climate policy action at the CMF, in 2021, we started by adding language to our program guidelines to encourage thinking and to allow for costs associated with sustainable activities be allowed in our budgets, now eligible costs. In 2022, we started polling all applicants at the application stage, what their intentions were, if any, to undertake green activities on their own productions. This is really about information gathering, understanding a bit of the lay of the land. In 2023, we started by requiring carbon calculation submissions for the largest budget productions that are funded by the CMF. And then in 2024, we introduced a positive incentive to the CMF selective programs. We have applicants who are encouraged to submit a sustainability plan with a commitment to report on the actions they complete at the end of their production. And doing so awarded them an extra 2 points in their evaluation. So this is a little bit of, like, very much leaning into the incentivizing rather than sort of beating it over the head. But if they did this, then they could get some extra points on their selective programs. And what was really refreshing to see there was that that did work. In fact, I think we saw a near 100% submission of sustainability plans across our selective programs. Now that's a small part of what the CMF does. Probably about 15% of our funds are given out through selective programs, but very encouraging nonetheless. And then in 2025, we're now starting to work and look at the details of the outcomes of some of these incentives now. So we're seeing how has that had an impact in CMF-funded productions, and working with our primary partner at Canadian Heritage in setting organizational targets moving forward. So that's what I'm going to get into a little bit right now, is what are we seeing come out of that data? So based on that question that we now ask at application, which sort of says, what sustainable activities are you doing in a whole host of categories, what we found is that 1/3 of respondents are reporting that they're undertaking primarily in 3 areas: waste management, tracking of carbon emissions, and investment into infrastructure. Since 2023, over 1,000 projects have identified at least one action that they intend to undertake as part of that. And further, as I mentioned, the sustainability plans that we now offer as an incentive in our selective programs, there have been 200 producers that have submitted sustainability plans through that program. The other upward trends that we're seeing in terms of what people are doing and taking on is including dedicated staff for sustainability coordination, eco-certification, green transportation, as we just heard so much about, and training for crew. So just really quickly want to highlight some high performers that we're seeing in the space, again, through CMF-funded projects. So first up is the Montreal-based KOTV, who specialize in family-friendly comedies. One of the initiatives that we were also involved in, which I'll talk about a little bit later, is the Producing for the Planet Action report for 2024. So in that published report, which was partially financed by us, of the 70 producers that were surveyed, this company was in the top 10 of those performers. They committed to taking 56 actions across their slate, including on-screen representation of green themes, emissions tracking, elimination of single waste plastics, hiring of green vendors, and crew training. Oh, sorry, that's KOTV. I didn't look back. This one, spoiler alert, is Banger Films, another high performer. They focus on high-profile stories on Canadian legends, including an upcoming documentary on Rush's drummer, Neil Peart. So in the P4P action report, Bangor Films were in the top 20 of performers across the country. They identified 45 actions, including implementing hybrid digital workflows, using eco-friendly services, and embedding sustainable thinking at each stage of their production. So the big question is, does it cost more to do this work? The good news is 51% of respondents to the Producing for the Planet report indicate they see a net benefit to their bottom line. So not only is this a good thing to do, it's good for your wallet as well. The caveat here, of course, is that those cost savings are still quite modest. Around under $10,000 per budget was reported, and this is all voluntary reporting at this point. But I think the thing with a lot of this activity is it's very cumulative, right? Once you invest in an infrastructure, you invest in that different way of thinking, you'll see that cost savings come back over time. And lastly, just to leave you with some tangible resources that hopefully you can use as you plan your own productions. As I say, in addition to the policies and incentives we've built into our content funding programs, we have joined forces with a number of national industry bodies. That includes, on the left-hand side, you can see the logo for Green Frame, which is a coalition of national funding and federal bodies, including CBC, Telefilm Canada, the Independent Production Fund, Bell Fund, and others. So the work that we're doing there in part is to bring greater cohesion at the federal level. Together we're tackling topics such as standardized reporting, data collection, and industry targets. And as I say, through our sector development and research teams, we're also helping to fund a number of reports and toolkits to help aid you in building this knowledge. So these include the aforementioned Producing for the Planet Action Report on the bottom left there, Greening the Screen, which is a climate action guide for producers, also from P4P. And then on the left is Innovation Meets Sustainability. This is a guide for XR producers in the immersive space that was published by the Montreal-based XN Quebec. All of these can be found on their websites. Feel free to find me and I can share those links to you. So thank you so much. Hopefully that was 6 minutes. I didn't actually time it. Okay, great. I'm getting the thumbs up. Thank you. Enjoy the rest of the speakers and enjoy the rest of your afternoon.